Okay, there we go. So, like we were talking about flat Earth, I was trying to say, how does this work on a sphere model when God says in the Bible, or whatever Moses says in the Bible, in verse 7, it says, "And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." So I'm just curious how
Did you
that
go
works.
live at all? Doesn't show. There it went.
No, because in this verse, this is only verse 7. So we're only at verse 7. So there is no sun, there is no moon, there is light, but there's no sun, there's no moon, there's no stars yet. We're only on day 2, as far as I know.
But there is heaven.
There is heaven and there is earth, but
Right.
there are no sun, moon, and stars, but there is light. And
Right.
I'm asking you, in your model, where all this stuff, how it works out, and, where is this water above the firmament? How does that all work out? Because in a flat Earth model, you got the ocean underneath, and you got possibly water above us in the sky, above some sort of barrier. Not entirely sure what that is, but let me hear what you got to say, both of you. But take turns.
Well, in my opinion,
It's above.
if you have water, it's going to be above or beyond the stars.
Okay, so
it says because his spirit moved upon the face of the deep, right? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, but there were no stars at that time.
Well, it doesn't
matter. It's talking about the face of the deep.
If there's stars or not.
Well, yeah, there's the face of the deep, but how does that work? Like, you gonna get a ball out of this? How do you get a ball out of that?
How do you not get a ball out of it? How do you get any shape?
Well, it should be flat. I mean, water is flat when you see it. Like, if you have your water right now in your coffee cup, what's the shape of it? It's flat.
What shape does water form in space?
It depends on how much water you have and how much it's squiggling around.
Nah, I have never make a difference if you got a drop or a...
Hold on now. I have never actually personally seen a drop of water in space, so I can't really tell you.
Well, you can go in a simulator that'll simulate the gravity that's the lack of gravity out in the outer space.
That was the word that you used there, simulator. It's a simulator.
Well, it simulates where there's no gravity. How would they know that there's not any gravity? So you're telling me they can find all kinds of stuff in outer space. They fly rockets up there all the time. They got satellites up there that pick up data. They send Mars rovers. They send Mars rovers out to Mars. It takes them 20, 30 years to get out there. I mean, they kind of have an idea of what's going on.
No, I'm just saying.
They built a freaking space station out there.
Can I ask you a question?
They built a space station out there, and they go up there and hang out up there for 2-3 weeks at a time. And it's like, okay, the Earth is flat. We're just gonna lie because whatever.
Can we let's suppose that I told you we did all that stuff, but I actually didn't, right? How much money would I have?
None.
Because I said I was going to go to Mars, but I didn't actually go to Mars. So, like, how much money did I just pocket right there by bullshitting
you? None.
You pocketed everything. You know what NASA's budget is?
Yeah, from the taxes of the government. But I mean,
but if they're not actually doing anything, where's all that money going?
Actually,
I guess they're
you wouldn't have cell phones today if it wasn't for NASA. All the smaller microchips, that was all developed more for them than us.
How do you know we didn't have those beforehand? And they might just give credit to NASA or something. I mean, because I haven't seen any. Like, if you guys could show me like a satellite, like you show me some footage of the ISS flying through space, and then satellite just being like.
Well, I sent you a link. I sent you a link of.
That should happen all the time. I never see satellites in that footage, and it cuts constantly.
The Earth is
I can
so
watch
big.
a satellite. I can watch a satellite.
A satellite is
but I can watch a satellite.
The size of a half a school bus. Now, do you see a school bus everywhere you go on Earth, or do you see them once in a while?
Exactly. Well, no. You see, that's the other thing. You're telling me you can see a school bus from 200 miles away. That's bullshit. You can't see that.
When it's reflecting off the sun.
I can see a satellite fly by.
No, but you can't see. If you can't even see a school bus on the Earth 200 miles away, you're telling me you can see a satellite that's 200 miles away in the sky. I'll believe you.
Can you see a plane when it's...
Because you're not looking through the same atmosphere.
Well, you can tell it's a satellite because it's moving much faster than an airplane would.
Oh well, see,
you can tell. Like if you're looking in the stars, like if you live where I live, you can freaking see all the stars. Okay,
well, I've seen that. I've seen
most of them
around. I don't know, what they are.
And you can sit there and lay on my roof if you can get up there.
Sure.
But I'll like we'll go camping or something out in the middle of freaking nowhere on the mountains, and you can lay down and look, and you'll see like this very tiny looking little dot just kind of go soaring by, and you look at the airplanes in retrospective where that thing is way beyond the airplane, and it's moving much quicker than the airplane.
Yeah, it moves much faster, and you lose track of it. Like it was only there for like a hot second, and then it's gone. Like it went.
Well, I mean, you can trace it though. I mean, I've sat there and watched them go from one end of the sky to the other. If you know, or from the viewpoint, yeah. It just sit there and just keep going. You just sit there and keep watching, and then finally it goes out of view. But I mean, it just kind of goes in the line that it's in. It's like an orbit. That's what they call an orbit.
So, but what do you do about them ones that you see that like they go this way and they're going the same way, and then they like stop and then they like go the other way? What do you do about them?
I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that unless it's like a meteor like or something UFO. Like that.
It's a UFO.
I've seen a meteor do that actually one time. It was on the news. It was like in 1997.
Really? A meteor went backwards? Wow.
No, what happened was it came in, it went one direction, then turned, and then kind of shot out, and then it burned out. You could see it just kind of shoot down and then burn out. But it changed direction when it came in the atmosphere.
That's a good question that actually you just brought up. So on a sphere Earth, why don't we see meteors coming from, like, I don't know, you always see them come the same way. Shouldn't some come like from straight above or like, something like that?
Well, no, what was it? May? It was May. I think it was May. They had a huge meteor shower. And we went out and watched, and there was like hundreds of them coming from different directions.
No doubt. I know about the meteor shower. I'm saying like when they come real close, like that one that like in Russia or whatever not too long ago, that big one that like almost looked like it was going to kill people. Like, why is it always coming from the side? Why is it never coming like straight down? Or like, why are the moon craters
because
all 90-degree angle craters? How
because the Earth is round.
Like, it'd be like line of sight trajectory. Line of sight trajectory. You got. It looks like it's coming towards us.
Okay.
But it's really not.
Okay. I see. Now that I'm going to use that against you later.
So, if the Earth was flat, they would come straight down, though.
That's exactly right, because we're seeing the curve of the Earth of the atmosphere, so it appears that it's coming this way and it goes that way.
The curve of the Earth. You want to talk about that? Are you going to tell me that the curve of the Earth is right there where the boat disappears?
Yeah.
I've never seen any boats just start floating around in outer space. Oh, look. There's the Nina, the Maria, and the Santa Maria.
Now I can see the boat, but
if
they kept filming for another hour, it'd disappear.
Whoa, what were you saying, Rob?
All those YouTube videos are like, oh, look, it disappeared with my eyes. And then they break out a telescope. They're like, oh, see, it didn't disappear, but if they kept filming, it would disappear.
Exactly. So there's no curve of the Earth there.
No, it would disappear, I said.
Well, yeah,
but they don't film that.
Your eyesight, but it's still there. So when you tell me the curve of the Earth is right there, where your eye can't see it anymore, I have to laugh because that's not true. The curve of the Earth is not there.
That your
eye have to go way higher to see the curve of the Earth. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree that eye does not prove the curvature of the Earth, but if you film it, it does go out of sight.
Yes. That's right. I know it goes out of sight, but my point is a lot of people like to say that right there is where the curve of the Earth is. You can see it. Like, there's the curve. It's like, well, no, there's not the curve, because if I zoom in on the boat, it's still there. So that's not the curve. So, and even when you take a balloon really high up, I can show in some of our balloon tests that we've done without fisheye lens cameras, it's still flat. So if our balloon only goes 120,000 feet and we're still showing flat, there's nothing under that you could tell me. Like, oh, I was in a plane and I saw the curve. No, you didn't. You think you saw the curve. That's what you're remembering, but that's not what you saw.
A guy in the, I think it was the 30s, went up a balloon, and he definitely said he saw a curve.
Okay, well, a balloon is a different story. How high did he go?
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I don't think he could have gotten, because here's the thing: if you're gonna go up in a balloon, you're kind of risking your life, because the balloon's gonna go a lot higher than Mount Everest, and people that climb Mount Everest die because they run out of oxygen and they freeze. And that's exactly what I would expect happens if you go up.
Depends on the balloon. I guess what is the thing that you're sitting in? Because like that one guy, he got up in a balloon that was like sealed off at the bottom, and he flew actually all the way around the world, didn't he?
I don't know about that.
He's talking more like a balloon that'll go into space, not a balloon like not a hot air balloon.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Felix Baumgartner doing a silly jump.
No, he didn't do any jumps. He actually flew around the world in a balloon.
Okay, well that's more of a hot air balloon, I think.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like going up to the point, like, because when you're going into space, when you're up 128,000 feet, like you're definitely way higher than Mount Everest.
Okay? Yeah, this guy went to 70.
Okay, so solo nonstop. Steve Fawcett, he worked for. I don't even know who he worked for. James Steve Fawcett, April 22nd, 1944 to September 3rd, 2007 is when he died. It was an American businessman, a record-setting aviator, sailor, and adventurer. He was the first person to fly solo nonstop around the world in a balloon.
Yeah, but that's a hot air balloon.
Wait, like how far around the world did he go? Like what was his path? Like did he go from United States like all the way around in a circle back to the United States, or did he like go the opposite way and go like down across the South Pole and like come across the Arctic? Like how'd he go?
I don't know. It doesn't say. He probably went from one side to side. But right. there again. Okay, so if you're asking if somebody's gonna fly down to the South Pole and up and around like that, I'd say that's like a death wish right there, because when you get down to the South Pole and the North Pole, it's freezing.
Yep.
Or that's Antarctica and the North Pole. I'm sorry.
Why has nobody done it? Well, because it's a super.
Because it's cold. Like, why did they find pyramids in Antarctica?
Well, I don't even know that they found pyramids there. But if they did, well, like, why are they even there in the first place? And
hey, just go to Google Earth. You'll see them yourself.
Oh no, I've seen them. Trust me, bro. I've seen them. I'm just saying. I know about Photoshop.
Well, just because you see a photo on Google Earth doesn't mean anything. Anybody can put a photo on Google Earth.
Exactly, and that's just.
Well, it's not really a photo. You can just kind of zoom in.
That's the same.
And there you go. Global positioning system too, like
ground positioning system.
Do I know?
Ground positioning system. Go ahead.
If it was ground, how come it cuts out when you go under a bridge?
Oh, well, that's under the ground. It's the same reason it cuts out when you're on top of a high mountain, because it's too far.
Radio doesn't cut out when I go under a bridge.
Look.
Actually, I can use a satellite phone. I can use a satellite phone and go on top of any mountain and get. Okay.
You can use a satellite phone anywhere except for Antarctica.
But you can still use them in Antarctica.
If you had a phone that was capable of reaching people, I guarantee you, if I dropped you off in the middle of the Amazon fucking jungle, you would not be able. You would have no signal whatsoever, because there are no towers anywhere near you and no satellite. Even if you were on the highest hill of the highest peak there, you would not get a signal.
Well, there are people that are in the Congo that use satellite phones to communicate, mainly missionaries. So, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not in the middle of the jungle.
No, that is the jungle.
They're on the outskirt. They're not in the middle.
But there's no cell phone service there.
I know. Well, that's the thing. There's no cell phone.
They're in mud huts.
Even if there were cell phone service, like I've done this many times. I've go on a trip with my buddy. Some reason he gets cell phone service, but I don't. This is where we both go. It's on top of a higher peak. That's why we're closer to the satellites. What's going on? Oh, because
cell phones don't work by
satellite. Which we're not in range of. That's what's happening.
Yeah, cell phones don't work by satellites.
Well, yes, you've told me that.
Here's another good one too. There's a place in Alabama. I'm not sure where it is. You probably heard of it. There's a place in Alabama. Okay, it looks like you're gonna go. Looks like you're going downhill, or it's flat. Actually, it looks like it's just totally flat.
Oh.
All right, you put your car in neutral, and that sucker just starts going backwards by itself.
There's a place in Pennsylvania like that too. It looks like it's going the wrong way. It looks like it's going up the hill when it's not. I know totally about that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It's just like that. And I don't even know where it is. Somewhere in Alabama, I saw some video about it.
I found that thing. You're asking how high that guy went in the balloon. He went 72,395 feet.
That's nothing.
In the balloon for 8 hours.
That's impressive, but that's not around the world. That's more like you flew in a balloon for 8 hours.
I'm saying he went high enough to see. I'm saying he went high enough to see that the Earth was round.
Oh, burned.
No. Yeah.
No, you can't say that, buddy.
You're done.
No,
that's what he said before NASA was even invented.
Exactly, and we have balloons that have gone higher than that, which clearly show no curve. Where you have other balloons that they show.
Well, it just depends on the angle of the camera, don't
depends
you know?
Depends on the camera. Yes, it depends on the angle of the camera and the.
Let me ask you something. If I went up into outer space with a square lens and it still showed a curve, would you believe it then?
I don't see how a square lens is going to give you a curve, though. It's going to give you a pyramid.
Oh, good grief. That is so funny.
No, but seriously, if they could just give, I would even pay for the camera.
I told Albert he just needs to take a balloon up, and he said,
"No, man, you don't need to take a balloon because the balloons pop too early. We need somebody on the actual ISS. So if I were to let's say donate,
well, there are people on the ISS.
A good camera, a bunch of cameras, maybe 3-4 cameras. We'll donate them to the ISS for scientific researches. But they have to take them outside.
Normal cameras.
Take them outside, and they have to show me everything that they see. So they have to basically be outside on a spacewalk. Don't risk your life, but do a pan around, show me very slow motion.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what.
Oh, look, there's the sun over here, and then if you look to our left over here, you see the moon, and you see all the stars in the background. No, you don't, because there's none, because you can't see them up here. Then I'd be like, all right, that's a good video. No cutting the footage.
Go ahead and take pictures of the stars with your phone some night.
No, I'm just saying, no cutting the footage. No cutting. Don't cut the footage. You keep it rolling.
You have to change very dramatic settings to get stuff.
But there's live stream from the ISS going on right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The live stream from the ISS, that is constantly cut. The footage cuts constantly. It's not good. I need to see something better than that. I need to see you literally 3-4 days. I know it's going to be boring, but 3-4 days of you going around, no cuts.
I'll tell you what.
Straight up, I don't care if it's crappy footage. I'll watch it.
You got every scientist, Christian, secular, it doesn't matter, from Russia, China, everywhere. They don't give a crap. They just want to go up into the space station or in outer space, and not one of them has come back and said, "Well, the Earth is flat."
Well, no. See, because look, all the other countries are in on it. They have to be. I mean, who's really gonna I want to go to space today. Let me build a space rocket. No, it's all government-sponsored stuff. So,
but teachers
today Russia wants to go and build this satellite that's going to be brighter than any star. Okay, well,
didn't they send a monkey up in outer space?
Well, sure, that's what they.
Let's go and ask that guy.
I think they just sent it up in the air, and then who knows what happened to it after
that. Well, there goes Bobo. He just died out.
Sorry, a good experiment though.
That's funny.
Fun times. I mean, what do you think?
I just don't see. I don't think they have a reason to lie about it.
Well, they don't have a reason to lie. About it. If somebody started lying about it, and now you have.
Okay, but let's look. Hang on. Let's flip the coin on the other side. Okay. Let's say they went up and said the Earth is flat. We'd be sitting here arguing that the Earth is round.
I think no.
They'd be making a lot of money on it, and saying, okay, well, the Earth is flat. They'd be making just as much money on the books and everything else, so it doesn't matter to them.
They would be on the opposite side. So then the flat earthers would be the ones.
This flat Earth thing was going on in the medieval times or something, and then here comes Isaac Newton. He's like, no, or Galileo actually says, no, I don't think so.
How do you know? Isaac Newton said that there was phantom time.
Yeah.
There's a whole book that Isaac Newton wrote where he said, history and its timeline, it's messed up. There's actually time that's all messed up. There's extra years aren't supposed to be there. That's a book that Isaac Newton, your buddy, wrote. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. It doesn't matter to me. You know, I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Ooh. Why does it not matter? Everything should matter.
Because I don't follow Isaac Newton.
I don't follow Isaac Newton either. I don't believe in evolution, nor do you, right?
No, I don't believe it. No, it's all garbage. The thing about evolution, the thing about evolution is it's crazy. The simple questions they can't answer. And then you get into them and say, okay, so we evolved from stuff. Yeah. So, well, if you keep evolving all the way back, and we came from nothing? Well, there was this soup. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? There's a soup. Oh, there's a fish.
Yeah,
well,
it's
he's not really a fish. He's like a half fish, half lizard.
Right.
Like,
so
what are you talking about?
Which one's more believable? God created us out of nothing, or nothing created nothing out of an imaginary explosion that never happened, and it took less than it takes the time for me to happen.
Right, and then you have the whole problem with the there were 3 planets that spin backwards or something.
Oh yeah,
Uranus is spinning some other way. You're like, well, if you have an explosion and everything's spinning the same way except these 3, what happened with the explosion?
So do you see?
I tell you what, let me take you to Baghdad, Iraq. We're gonna put some Smarties in a bowl and some goldfish, IED. We're gonna see if anything gets created here. And then it goes off and nothing.
I like how you just said goldfish bowl, because that's exactly that's where we're not orbiting anything. We're just sitting here. The Earth, according to the Bible, not moving. It's sitting right where it is, and the sun and the moon and the stars are going around us. So, yeah. See, I don't know if you realize, but you are almost kind of half agreeing with me about your previous statement, what we were just talking about. And you were just like, the retrograde, they don't make sense. Well, yeah, of course they don't make sense, because we're not freaking orbiting.
Well, the retrograde was pertaining to the other planets, and we know they're orbiting. I mean,
yeah. Have you ever seen? There's just one thing. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but have you ever seen like an overlay of the flower of life on the Earth?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, so that's the orbit that they do. If you were to, have you ever seen the geocentric point of view?
No.
Of the Earth, like Earth is the center. All right, well, I guess you're gonna have to look first.
I put another picture for you, Albert.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I put another picture for you.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I remember you did that picture. Let's see, your scale is way off.
Are we still arguing the flat Earth thing?
Your scale is way off. Like, I agree, your first picture is totally, like, point on for scale. Your second picture, that is a little too much of a curve going on there.
Well, it's just saying it'd have to be something taller than a tree, obviously. It's just a concept. That's not my drawing. That's a Popular Science website.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys really just talking about flat Earth right now?
Yeah, we are. What's up, buddy?
Hey, bud.
That was the whole point of it.
Nice.
We were talking flat Earth.
I didn't know. I just finally got.
Are we gonna have a 3 versus 1 right here? What's up?
Well, first of all, we went into the flat Earth, then we got into the balloons, then we got into talking to the monkey that went in outer space to see if he was real.
Mm-hmm.
Smarties in the goldfish bowl with an IED in Iraq and the Big Bang and evolution. So,
basically, come full circle almost.
Yeah.
Circle.
Full circle.
You just admitted full circle. There it is.
Circle is not sphere.
All right. Well, you guys enjoy your.
Really? That's all you came in for? What do you want to talk about?
I don't. I gotta go to bed. I'm going to bed.
Rat.
Hey, man. Some of us gotta work in the morning.
Oh, like I don't.
Well, I mean, depends on what you call work.
True. Depends on what you call work.
Yeah, I gotta go to work too, but I'm not going to bed right now, though.
Well, I'm gonna probably listen to a little Bible, and besides, I've the flat Earth debates.
I'll link you that video.
So I'll give you guys some interesting stuff that I figured out.
Okay.
I was reading in Philippians 4:3. I think it's Philippians 4:3. Anyway, it mentions this guy Clement. Oh, it wound up being Clement of Rome, and so he writes an epistle. Well, we actually have a copy of that epistle. It's called the First Epistle of Clement. Now, it wasn't meant to be biblical. It was just some letters he was writing to the Corinthians, and he was working with Paul and Peter. And let's see here. He was writing to the Corinthians, and he was sort of giving some instruction and talking to them about some stuff. So he wrote like some 40 different chapters, and some of them are really, really short. So I got to look. Are you guys there?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got to looking at it and talk about making it creepy. You know how our Bibles in the New Testament, it talks about everything's on the first day, and the Lord's Day is the first day, and you got Meatone, Sabbatone, and that whole argument that that's actually the first of the Sabbaths and not really the first day of the week. And then you go and find out that the guy that actually translated it to be the first day of the week was way wrong in his initial translation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy that we accept as his knowledge of Greek had 0 peers. That's a huge red flag. Mm-hmm. Because that means you got nobody checking your work because they don't know how to read it. And you're saying that this is the way it is, but then we find out later on he's actually tied to the Church of Rome and had alliances with the Church of England. So right there's that spin from getting it, calling the Lord's Day of the Sabbath day. Well, Clement, which is in Philippians 4:3, he's writing this epistle, and he's talking about actually this subject, but not knowing that they were going to change the translation or anything like that. But he's talking about he says, the title of the chapter 40 is Let Us Preserve in the Church the Order Appointed by God. And he goes through and talks about the appointed times and keeping up with them. He talks about how peace offerings and trespasses and the before the temple and then after the temple, and and making sure we keep up with these times, and we should incorporate this in the church. And then he starts talking about the order of ministers, and then he talks about how Moses of the old stilled in the contention of the which arose concerning the priestly dignity from here on out after Christ. And so he goes into great detail about that, and I thought that was so interesting. Okay, so here's a guy that's mentioned in Philippians 4:3, and the stuff he's writing here, it doesn't. All he's doing is sort of giving instruction.
What are you looking at again?
It's called the epistle, or the first epistle of. Hang on here.
What book and chapter though?
Oh, Philippians 4:3.
No, I mean about Clement that you're talking about.
Oh, the first epistle of Clement to the Corinthians. His name is Saint Clement of Rome.
Yeah,
he was around the time of Paul and Peter, which the Bible mentions him.
Yeah,
and he doesn't.
Wondering, so I can look, and I have that book, I believe. I just wondered
what happens if you go. What happens if you back up 40. Some dude who's telling like not necessarily a lie, but he's wrong? And then what happens if he's wrong, and then everybody else starts backing him up? Like, oh yeah, he's right. Yeah, we all got it. Let's all write it down. And then y'all are the only ones that write it down. Like, what if you all wrote it down wrong?
What do you mean?
Because even Irenaeus, who is closest to John, in 120 or he wrote that down like way after. So even if he did for some reason see John, woo, he was so far removed from that, and how are you going to say this new guy who came along the scene only seen John? He only seen John, didn't know him. He wasn't necessarily saying, "Oh, well, I was buddy with him. I ate dinner with him." So he's going to be
the interesting thing about
if John would have said this is the anti. All I think Irenaeus was saying in his comment was, yo, if he wanted you to know who the dude was, he would have straight told you to your face. But there's no need. You can figure it out. That's I don't know.
Well, you'd have to figure out the number of his name.
Well, see,
so the number of his name doesn't line up with Nero.
Why didn't John? I think that's getting into it too much. Like that's what the thing. That's why he didn't.
Why don't you think it lines up with Nero?
I mean, if he was going to be like, so his name is Nero, and write that down, don't you think they would have killed him on the spot? I mean, come on, it's Nero.
No, it's not Nero. I mean, even if he did, even if you go into the gematria, you still got to pull his title, and that's not even his real name. And so it gets into a big.
Which one was the dude that put Christians on pitchforks and lit them on fire to like eat dinner to? Who was that?
Depends on which persecution it was.
Was it Nero, Caligula, or like Count Dracula? Which one?
It could have been Domitian under his persecution because that dude was superstitious as crap. He's the one that started. He started exiling Christians to the islands because he felt like
Domitian
for an island. Yeah, Domitian. If he didn't exile them to the islands, he felt like they could curse him somehow being on the same land. That dude was weird.
John was on the Isle of Patmos, already imprisoned when he wrote it, I guess, or he had just gotten out.
No, he says he's on the Isle of Patmos when he wrote it.
Yes, he says, I was on the Isle of Patmos. There's a key word.
When he wrote it.
Was.
When he got the vision. When he got the vision.
No, I'm just saying, he says himself that he was on the Isle of Patmos. But then he says he was told to go and measure the temple. So if he was told to measure the temple, that means the temple has to still be standing, which means it has to still be before 70 AD when he wrote it.
Depends on which temple.
Well, no, I mean, really, you're going to tell me that the temple he's measuring is his body or something?
Well, if you go over to Ezekiel, there's someone measuring the temple there. And it's not Ezekiel.
Okay. Now, hold on. See, that's where I think a lot of people make a mistake, because you're taking something John said in, like, Revelation at the end, and you're taking it back to Ezekiel, which is like, way back, way far back.
Right, but Ezekiel prophesied that temple, and that temple's going to be in the millennial reign.
Ezekiel's temple is talking about the second temple, which is the one that got knocked.
No, it's not. It's not even close. Look at the description of the land in Ezekiel. In Ezekiel's temple, in chapter 40, was it 40?
When was
43 or 47?
When did Ezekiel live?
When did Daniel live? You know, it doesn't really matter.
You want to know? I'll tell you why.
It doesn't matter when Ezekiel lived. He prophesied a temple that has yet to exist.
No. Yes,
because
Daniel
did the same thing.
No, Daniel was before the temple fell.
The first one. I know that, but he prophesied a temple out in the future of the coming of Messiah before that temple was ever even built. Ezekiel did the same thing.
Oh, the second, no, there's only two temples that I see.
Yeah, the one in the beginning and the one in the end.
No,
in Ezekiel.
The one that got sacked in 586, and then the second one that got destroyed in 70 AD, and there's no third.
The second one did not. The second temple that Ezekiel talks about is not the same one that Herod built. You can see that by the description of the land by itself.
Well, no.
The description of the land gives it away. It's not the same temple.
The second one is the Herod one.
The second one is the Herod one, but the one in Ezekiel, temple was Herod's temple. The second temple in Ezekiel is not Herod's temple.
Yeah, that's the first one.
It's not the first one.
Okay.
The first temple was not. Ezekiel prophesied another temple that has yet to be built.
You know that some guy way back in the past, like, he's going to be prophesying, skipping over this next thing that's about to happen. He ain't even going to mention that. He's going to go to the next one after that.
I think when you're dealing with God, just like Isaiah, look how far back Isaiah was, and he prophesied Jesus. What was he? Some 2,500 something years prophesying Jesus. And I mean, if you want to go that far, let's go all the way back to freaking Genesis. When the light was created before the sun, that's obviously talking about Jesus, and that's thousands of years before Jesus came about. Then you have Daniel doing the same thing, talking about this future temple that's going to be built and destroyed about the time that Jesus comes about. And so it's kind of like a common theme. You're prophesying way out in the future, not in the past.
You said it right there, about the time Jesus comes, and he did come in the flesh, and then
500 and something years later after Daniel laid out that prophecy.
And then he came back right there. And he was like, yo, behold all my flat earth brethren.
Okay, let me ask you this. Where did the two witnesses prophesy in the holy city?
Okay, well, see, first off, you're, I guess, maybe...
And then where was this 7-year covenant?
You're assuming that there's actual two literal people who are the two witnesses.
Well, of course they are.
Well, where do you get that?
Zechariah. And also on the Mount of Transfiguration. They were standing right next to Jesus when he ascended into heaven.
Yeah, but that was a vision.
He said, oh, so they stood there, saw, and they're just standing in the vision. And he's like, okay, why are you looking at me?
No, they had a vision. Yeah, he said, yeah, exactly. They had a vision. While they were up there, they had a vision. And then when they were coming back down, Jesus was like, yo, don't tell nobody the vision until you see this happen. He said, don't
No, I'm talking about when Jesus ascends into heaven. You're talking about the vision. I'm talking about when Jesus ascended into heaven.
He didn't say, don't tell him what you saw me do. He didn't say, like, don't tell him about what you saw me do right now. He said, don't tell him about the vision.
About that vision. But the other one, they saw him go off and take off into heaven and not come back. He didn't he didn't tell him not to tell anybody about that.
I love that one because actually it says, you know, there was two. He went up into the clouds, and then after he went into the clouds, he went behind a cloud, and then he was received into heaven. So, and then there were the two men standing there, and they said, "Men of Galilee, why do you stand here looking into the sky or the heavens? This same Jesus which was taken from you will come back in the same way in which you saw him go." So,
yep.
You did not see him go into heaven. A cloud got in the way, first off. And then second, on top of that, reminds me of when he says, wait, listen, just let me finish. He says, and you should see him coming in the clouds. Well, he went in the clouds. So yeah, I'll see him coming back in the clouds. That doesn't mean I'm going to literally see him like float up.
Did they literally see him float up until he got behind the clouds?
No, I don't think so.
So they lied in the gospel.
No, he went up and then a cloud got in the way.
Okay, because he disappeared into heaven as he was going up.
Right, but they didn't
they're going to see him come back the same way.
Nah, but they didn't see him go into heaven. A cloud got in the way. It got in the way.
Of course not.
Then he went in.
But they seen him ascend up.
Right, so he'll come back in the same way.
So he'll come back in the same way.
He'll come back on the clouds the same way. He'll come back on the clouds.
And you'll visually see him because they visually seen him go up to the clouds.
Are you telling me that this dude is Goku?
He's God.
Yeah,
he's
but
greater than Goku.
You're telling me that Jesus is going to come back like Goku, basically. He's going to ride like the Nimbus cloud through the skies and be like,
That's what he says he's going to do.
Does that? I mean, do you see why people like hate us now for being Christians?
It's because I don't care. I don't care what they hate.
I know,
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They don't believe, dude. They'll sit there and say, "Oh, I don't believe in miracles," but a miracle happened to them. They're like, "Well, I guess I believe in one." You know what I'm saying? It's just stupid. I don't care what they think.
But this is why they don't like it.
They're. I don't care why they don't like us.
You're telling me he's coming back?
That's their problem. I'm telling you, he's coming back exactly how he said he was coming back. He said, every eye will see him.
Every of which eye?
Every eye.
Did he say every eye of the whole universe?
Every eye of the whole universe. He said every.
He didn't say that though.
But he did say that. He said every.
He said every eye. But which every eye is he talking? Every eye of the people of this land. Every eye in.
Every eye from the beginning of time.
Really? So how are dead people going to see him?
The dead in Christ rise first, brother.
Oh, see, that's a good one. I like that. Good catch. So you're saying they would be resurrected first, and that's how they see them. Like,
that's how the Bible says it's going to happen.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna keep that.
The dead in Christ rise first, so they, every eye will see them.
I agree.
Every knee will bow. So that's the only way that can happen. The dead in Christ rise first.
Well, what about us then? We're still alive.
Those of us that are alive and remain will be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye.
What about all the people that don't believe in God? Are they going to be changed?
They're doomed.
What's going to happen to them, though?
They get cast into the lake of fire and into hell, man, after the tribulation.
When? Oh, really? I have to wait for this? Damn.
It's coming. Dude, it's coming. Trust me.
When's it coming?
I think it's going to be this year.
Yeah? All right, so if it doesn't come this year, what are you going to say? Next year?
Nah. I'll just be like, it'll probably be before 2030 because of that resolution thing they passed.
Throw it way off into.
But no, on a serious note, dude, if you look at all the things that are lining up with this year, it's almost scary.
Okay, so if all
it really is almost scary.
Year, if they're all lining up this year and it's looking so promising, and then nothing happens, what are you going to say for next year? You're like, oh no, they're lining up like way more than they did last year. I mean, because that's why it's happening every time, honestly.
No,
I'm not saying you're doing that at all. I'm just asking.
No, I'm just speculating based on the facts, man. Just based on the information we've gathered so far about all this stuff. And you know what's funny?
I used to be.
I'm not in the group where the pay-per-view preachers and all these guys, they fall all over themselves trying to debunk this thing. And I'm talking about people that believe in the rapture the same way I do. They don't even want to believe it because they still have that mantra, well, he's going to come back anytime and God is just random. And I'm just like, no, God is not random. I don't care how you spin it. He's not random.
What?
You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that. And so, and I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, if he fulfilled the 7 feasts in Leviticus 23, okay, he fulfilled the first 4 exactly on the days. He's going to come back and do the same thing with the other 3. And when you see it that way, you're like, okay, so this, nobody knows the day, the time, the hour when he's going to return. And Paul's saying on the last trump, well, then there's only one holiday they don't know the day, the time, the hour, and that's the Feast of Trumpets. They have to watch the moon to figure it out because they don't know. They guess so. It's going to be September 20th based on the moon phases, and a couple months later they'll change it. September 21st, September 22nd, October 5th. You know, they don't have an exact grasp on it because they have to just watch the moon.
Right. Well,
so as soon as the moon shows that sliver, boom, then they know at that point. And so, and they'll have to watch the moon continually to figure out when the last trump is going to be, because they're not allowed to blow the trumpets until that last, whatever they see in the moon, last phase of the moon or whatever it's supposed to be. And it only goes like 2 to 3 days, but then it moves in the calendar too. So like our calendar, like this year, I think last year it was in October. And so this year it's in September. So there's not really a set specific day. It just kind of, they have to just, right. And that's what Jesus meant. You know, it's called a Jewish idiom. You know,
you could also understand though where he says, you know, I mean, you kind of are agreeing here by saying what you said, but yeah, people can know the general time frame of when it's going to come, or has come, but
well, the season.
They're not going to know the exact day or the hour of that specific day in which it's going to come, but you can know the general time frame, the season, like you can know that.
Yeah.
You would at least agree with
right. And there's oh yeah, absolutely. Because there's people in my own church, they're like, oh, you're nuts. I'm like, okay, well, have you done the research? Because I have.
Yeah, you can narrow it down, no doubt. I agree with you on that. I'm just narrowing it down like way farther than you, and I'm saying it already happened.
Yeah, I know. The problem is we're still here and we're not changed.
Well, see, that's the thing. How do you know we're not changed?
Well, I can pinch myself and it hurts. I have to go pee right now. I still have pain. I still have all these things that says, and the Bible says that all these things will be gone. We won't even have to deal with that no more.
No, he didn't ever say he was going to take away all that stuff from the earth.
He said there'll be no more pain, no sorrow, no death, no nothing.
Where would there be no pain, sorrow, and death?
Well, after we're raptured, there won't be any for us.
Yeah, well, see, after you're raptured, if there is no rapture, that means after you die. So, yeah, if you're a believer, then maybe you'll go there to that place where all things are peachy and keen, and there are no more tears and all that. But while you're here on the earth, you're stuck with it, buddy. Just like I am. Yeah. We are stuck in poop central, like everything is like pretty much garbage.
Yeah, right. But the key is like, it's just like Paul said, in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye, will all be changed. Those of alive, right. Well, those who are alive and remain. He specifically says that. So that points out right there. Okay, so not everybody's gonna die.
Actually, no.
Gonna die.
Hold on, because actually, no. It says more than that. It doesn't say that. It does say that you're gonna die.
No, it doesn't. He says that in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we'll all be changed. And those who are alive and remain will be caught up into the air in the clouds with him in the air. And so people will say, well, that means you die. I don't think so. He says you'll be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, and you'll be caught up in the air with him. See, a lot of people think that the rapture is going to be like, he's going to come down here, but the Bible specifically says, no, he sends his angels down. He's going to be up in the clouds. We'll be caught up in the air with them together. And the point where he comes back is when he splits the Mount Olives, and that you can see that because he divides the land. And what's funny about that is when he divides the land, that's the exact division of the land talked about in Ezekiel. He sets up his kingdom, and Ezekiel talks about the land being divided the exact same way. Life and the leaves of healing, right there, and those of healing. Right. So he talks about that exact same thing, and then the only person that divides the land is Jesus that way.
Verse. I don't know where I'm going, but it definitely says some more than what you said. We shall be changed, and those who remain. Like, that means there's going to be people. And when Jesus said, there are some standing here before you, before me, some standing here before me. That's like me talking to you right now face to face, and there's like a bunch of other people. And I'm like, yo, some of y'all are not going to die until, so I'm telling you to your face that you're going to die. I just told you, you will all die. But some of you, before you die, you're going to see this thing happen.
Then a few verses later, he says, tell nobody about this vision.
I know he says that, but you have to keep in mind
but that's a vision. Why? But that's a vision he's explaining to him, though.
Why there in that instance? Didn't he say, you're going to see this, and then you're going to be taken away out of harm's way? No, he said, you'll see this, and then you're going to die. He said, you will see this, and then you'll die. You shall not die until you see these things. You will die, is what he's saying. You will die. Just like everybody else, everybody's going to die. Enoch died. Elijah died.
Actually, Enoch didn't die.
They all died. He did.
No, he didn't.
I can prove it to you.
No, he was transliterating.
No, man. Have you seen Hebrews?
Yeah, he was. What was it? He was taken.
No, Hebrews. Book of Hebrews.
Uh-huh.
I know it says that he was taken, but it says these all.
He was translated.
All right, here we go. Hebrews 11. If you could go to maybe Hebrews 11 right quick. My equipment. There we go. I got it. So yeah, if we read from Hebrews 11, if you read all of Hebrews 11, we'll start, I guess, a little bit before 5. Oh, well, we could just read it.
By faith, Enoch was translated, that he should not see death.
Yes, that is all right. So before that, though, all right.
And when he was not found because God had translated him.
I know. Listen, though, hold on, because you're. I feel like you're just reading one part of this verse, and you're not reading the entire story here. So it says before that, it says by faith, Abel offered God a better sacrifice than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as righteous when God gave approval to his gifts. And by faith, he still speaks even though he is dead. And then it says, by faith, Enoch was taken up so that he did not see death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. And then it goes through a bunch of other people. You can keep reading. By Noah. Noah was warned about things not yet seen. By faith, Abraham, so on and so forth. And then by the time you get up there, it says, let's see, where was it?
Number 13, these all died in faith.
Yes. And was Enoch not on the Enoch was on the list, was he not? All these
he was not because he's separate. He was not because he's separated by verse 6.
No, it's saying that he died. He had the same thing happen to him, that the same thing like Philip. He was picked up by the Lord and moved somewhere else, and they simply couldn't find him. Same thing with Elijah. He was moved by the whirlwind somewhere else, and they just simply couldn't find him. He was still alive, still doing well. Except Enoch's case, I think his moving actually, God killed him. Is what it seems. Like God killed him right there is what happened.
Okay, so what you're saying is by faith, Enoch was translated so he should not see death.
So he should not.
He was not found because God had translated him. That means he did not see death. And
right.
then later
so
on it says,
death,
but he died. What
does that mean? Does that mean like if I should not see death, does that mean that I myself won't die? Or does that mean that I shouldn't see everyone around me die? I shouldn't see death. Like which kind of see death
no, it just means if you don't see death, that means you didn't die.
How can you be so sure though?
Okay, because you don't see death, so you don't die.
But in this verse it says all these people died in faith, having not received the promise. Enoch,
right, but it's separated by verse 6. It's separated by verse 6 because it goes into it says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
There's no separation there. That's like
because
the point.
And it says these all died in faith because he starts with Noah. He goes these other ones. He says, but these all died in faith.
No,
not having received the promises, but having seen them far off.
It's saying that they all died in faith. But Noah, when warned about things he had not seen, and godly fear built an ark to save his family. This is all before that verse.
Okay, if you go and look up the word translated, you go and look up the word taken.
Hold on. I have one verse to end this entirely. Ready?
Okay.
No man has ascended. You know that one. No man has ascended to heaven.
I don't know where that is.
John. It's John. John 3:13. There we go. No one has ascended to heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man. That's John writing that. So this is all the way up until John's time, and he done just said that, even though that's probably Jesus' words to Nicodemus. So Jesus himself said at this time when he's walking on the earth, he says, no one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven, the Son of Man, which completely eliminates Enoch from going to heaven before Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, it depends on where Enoch went.
He died. He went to Abraham's bosom, just like everyone else, until the resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
After the resurrection, booyah, now they're all resurrected. So now I would say, because I'm a full preterist, I would say now in our time, Enoch is definitely in heaven right now. But talking about this whole thing back in the past, no, he wasn't there yet.
Well, the Bible says he did not taste death. So
it says
I can't get around that. It goes and talks about some other people and then it says they died.
Hold on. You just said taste death. It doesn't say taste in mine. It says see death, which is completely
he did not see death. He just did not see death. He didn't die.
Well, seeing death and tasting death are two different things entirely.
So let's go to Genesis and see what it says there.
If you see death, that means, like, as far as I'm concerned, that means, like, you won't see all the people that are about to get murked in the flood. You won't see death.
No, he was quite a while before the flood.
Yeah, he was.
So he wouldn't have, he was like, what, 365 years old? Let's see, where is Enoch in the diagram? Let's see.
7. Enoch comes after the angel sex scenario, which I say doesn't even happen. So, see, all these things, you got to take all into account at the same time. The shape of the earth, whether or not angels can have sex, did Enoch die? It's crazy. So much for Flat Earth. So much for other people joining us. Punks. Oh. I thought I would have some other people join, but they didn't come. Oh, well.
Is it just me and you on here?
It is, but it's okay. Hey, I'd rather talk me and you. That way, I'm the one that invited you in the first place, in case you... I don't know. I changed my picture a lot, so you might get confused.
No, it's all right. I'm about to have to get off here anyway. I got to go to bed. It's 11 out here. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania, so it's same time, basically. Good old PA. You must be close to at least somewhere on the eastern seaboard.
Yep, I'm in Georgia.
Oh yeah, you said that before. Yeah, you're way down south. You're probably like right on the border of between the time zones.
Yeah, I'm about 10 minutes. 10 minutes or 15 minutes from the Alabama state line.
Does that mess with you?
Nah.
You never like, oh, it was 6 o'clock, but now it's 5 o'clock.
No, the only time that happens is when I go over there for a run or something, or customers out there, then I'll have to go out there, and it messes with me. It messes with me at lunch because one day I showed up at Subway at 10:15, and they're still cooking the bread. And I was like, man, I'm hungry. And they're like, yeah, it's 10:15. What kind of breakfast you want? I'm like, it's, I was like, I thought it was 11:15, so I had to wait another hour. It pissed me off. But it's not that bad. I don't go over there unless I really have to, and I hate going over there. Alabama's really pretty in the north end.
Oh, I've been there.
It's it really sucks towards the middle of the state and south till you get to about Mobile, then it's okay.
That's about where I went, Mobile.
Yeah,
down there. I know what
I've been to Pennsylvania. I've never been to the historic stuff or anything like that. I just sort of drove through it on a Greyhound bus on my way to New York.
Yeah, we went to Gettysburg just the other day. That was fun.
We got a lot of Cherokee Indian stuff down here.
Interesting.
Same thing in North Carolina, but there's a lot of Cherokee. My great grandfather on my mom's side was he was Jewish, married to a Indian Cherokee, and then on my dad's side, it's funny. My last name is Pethel, P-E-T-H-E-L, which you don't hear that name ever. No. But they did some. We went to he went to a Jewish, Messianic Jewish synagogue place, and walked in and told him his name. They're like, "Oh, you're from the tribe of Bethel," and he just looked at him like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And they said, "Well, yeah, that's how you got your name." And we're like, "Well, we're from like Germany or something somewhere." And he's like, "Yeah, but they after the disbursement, after the Second Temple, they went up to Germany and started living up there." And so that's how you get and then all the way out to England, which is Welsh Bethel, same thing.
Okay.
But it was just really interesting that they said, yeah, that's where you get your name from, is from Bethel. I didn't know there was a tribe of Bethel. I just thought there was a town of Bethel, which Jacob called it. It meant like something else.
That's generally how they used to do back in the day, at least. Like way back in the day. Yeah. If you had like the city of like Jericho, generally speaking, like the dude Jericho was the person who like founded the place, who first settled there or something. That's at least how it was way back in the beginning, like right after Noah. At least that far.
Yeah.
I don't know about after that, but up until at least like around Noah and Tower of Babel, that's how it was.
If you don't believe in the fallen angel theory, I'll give you some reading material. This guy is called Ephraim the Syrian.
Okay, Ephraim.
And Ephraim the Syrian. He was one of the supposed church fathers, but he found some really old scrolls or something. And it doesn't really go along with Enoch's story, but it kind of does.
Okay.
It just really depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
So Enoch talks about these watchers, and then automatically people think it's angels.
Right.
But the way Ephraim the Syrian talks about it is the watchers were just everybody out to Noah, because they were on a top of a high mountain, and where they had buried Abraham, or where they had buried Adam all the way down that had died, Lamech and all them. And so the reason they were called watchers is because they were looking down the mountain at Cain's, population. And so the idea is that, Enoch talks about these fallen angels, but the fallen angels are the ones that go and teach them all this weird technology.
Right, in that story.
And so it kind of debunks the idea that the fallen angels sort of mated with people. They just taught them how to mingle the seed and do all this other kind of scientific stuff. Because you got Nimrod, who clearly did that. That guy was nuts.
Right.
And he sort of had a vengeance against God.
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah, but are you familiar with CERN? CERN?
The circle-y thing, the head.
Yeah. Okay. Look up this guy's name. His name is Anthony Patch. Okay, and he does a lot of research on CERN, and you'll be blown away. They're trying to open a portal, is what they're trying to do. And
what if they can't? Huh? What if they can't? What if they're trying to open a portal but they can't?
I don't know, but
and they're just wasting their time.
They are wasting their time, but they think they can do it because of some things they found. And remember, I was talking about the head of Osiris or Nimrod in this jar?
Yeah, the head of Nimrod, yeah.
Okay, so the other deal that we went into, now I want to tell you something. You just got to keep this between me and you because I don't know if I can get in trouble for talking about this, okay?
Okay, well, then I'll just end the conversation here and everybody else is just going to have to eat that.